Hello everyone, welcome to Theme Park Life. My name is MJ and today I'm going to be looking at what possible rides could be at the London Resort. Now, there's been obviously a huge amount of discussion around this project. It's been sort of off again and off again, hot and cold for the last like 4 years or something. Well, we're sort of back on track now, sort of. Paramount are back on board, they had left. We've now got BBC and ITV both on board as well. So let's look at the biggest franchises from those companies and see what could possibly be here along with what we already know. Now, these may sound like smaller companies, okay, Paramount is obviously worldwide, and there have been theme parks around Paramount before, and they have had some fairly successful IP based rides. Now I believe that most of the Paramount parks have now been basically stripped of the Paramount license. There were things like Top Gun and Italian Jobs rides in several places around the world. I think Cedar Fair may have taken them over. So Paramount, we've got some big franchises we can discuss. Now BBC and ITV, you might be thinking, they're just sort of, they only appeal to a UK audience, or they haven't really got any big franchises. Actually, they have got some decent franchises and some decent IPs that are recognised the world over, and that I think could not only be really successful, but they could have a worldwide appeal, bringing people specifically to the London Resort. And also they could provide some really good opportunities for some exciting and unique types of rides. So let's get the big ones out of the way first. We already know about a couple of these. They have said that they would build rides around Star Trek, arguably Paramount's biggest franchise, and Mission Impossible. Now, apart from those two franchises, I think there's another big franchise, which is Transformers. Now, I don't know if that is possible. I think it's a perfect fit because out of everything on this list that I've got here that I'm going to go through, sippy break. Transformers is probably the biggest franchise. I guess maybe Star Trek is, but Transformers is huge. And I think there's a really big opportunity here. I would assume that Paramount have got a really good relationship with Hasbro. I think Hasbro ultimately being the actual IP owners of Transformers, whereas Paramount just obviously own the TV or movie rights, I guess. I'm making a lot of assumptions here, guys. Maybe instead of doing movie-based attractions at the London Resort, maybe Paramount could work in conjunction with Hasbro and really play on the nostalgia of people and produce Transformers-based attractions based on the Transformers mythology in general, which would include like the toys and the cartoons. I think that would be absolutely incredible. Now, I'll go into some specifics of what types of rides I could see in a minute. I just want to get the franchises out of the way. So we discussed Star Trek, we discussed Mission Impossible. Big BBC franchises include Doctor Who. It's a worldwide franchise. You know, news about Doctor Who is a big deal across the globe, so that would be a big one. Top Gear. Again, it is a big, you may be surprised to hear, it is a worldwide franchise, and I would say it's definitely suited to some types of attractions. Now this next one, bit of a left field one, I'd say. Line of Duty. So this one is, it's hugely popular in the UK, so this would be probably one that is more for the UK audience. And it's just sort of like an action-y police thrillery. So there's some limited, more limited appeal or more restriction in what type of attractions those could be. But I'll get onto that. Now let's go over to ITV. Thunderbirds, huge one for me. I used to love Thunderbirds as a kid, and again I'll touch on more on that in a minute. Horrible Histories. Actually, I don't know if Horrible Histories is ITV or BBC. But anyway, Horrible Histories, it's pretty big, a huge range of books, and there's even a movie now. Now Britain's Got Talent, absolutely global success story. You haven't just got Britain's Got Talent now, you've got America's Got Talent, you've got probably India's Got Talent, it's probably across the whole world. So that's definitely a big one. I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. Of course, that has been featured at some Merlin parks in the past, so I'm not sure what the license deal with that is. Then you've got some really key across both the studios, BBC and ITV. You've got some really big quiz shows. So The Chase, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, Pointless, and The Weakest Link. I don't think there could be the Weakest Link roller coaster, but I'll explain my ideas in a second. And then a few more I just want to throw in there, because as I was looking through these, I was seeing a big theme here and a big opportunity. Nostalgia is huge these days. All the kids that grew up in the 80s and 90s, where there were these massive franchises, especially aimed at children, that just weren't as prevalent in the 70s and everything like that. You know, budgets weren't as big, capability of studios wasn't as big, so that these huge, you know, proper far-reaching and intrinsically what am I trying to say? Like, it grabs your heart as a child and it grabs onto you. These big ones started around the 80s and the 90s. So things like Funhouse and Nightmare. Why not? That's what I'm saying. Right, so what actual attractions could I see? So, roller coasters. I could see a Star Trek roller coaster. I think it would be, or should be, something like a premiere launch roller coaster. Now, I've actually been on a Star Trek roller coaster, which was a Mack, and I absolutely loved it. I'd be more than happy to see a Mack, a similar style ride, like a Mack, but I think a premiere would suit really well as well. And the reason I haven't chosen a Mack for this one is because I've suggested maybe a Mack Extreme Spinning roller coaster would suit the Transformers franchise. Like I say, if the Transformers franchise could be focused more on the nostalgic cartoon and actual toys element, you could have a really colourful ride, an intense ride, lots of inversions and lots of spinning. You get some good theming in there. I think maybe something along the lines of what the Guardians of the Galaxy roller coaster sounds like it's going to be. I think that could be really interesting. Then a Mission Impossible roller coaster. I think there were some implications in the initial press releases for the London resort that there might be like a Mission Impossible stage show or something. I would say go for a Vekoma motorbike launch roller coaster. You've got the iconic scene in Mission Impossible 2 where he rides a motorbike, and even in some of the more recent Mission Impossible films, there's these epic motorcycle chases. It's definitely a key vehicle that has been featured in the movies. Why not a cool roller coaster about it? I think that'd be great. And then this one seems really obvious to me. A Top Gear Test Track style ride. So Test Track, I believe, is made by Dynamic Studios. Get them in, just do a similar kind of thing. Top Gear ride. Enough said on that one. I think it's just a great idea. Now, some dark ride ideas. Thunderbirds are go. I think Thunderbirds franchise would be great for a flying theatre. So we don't have many of these in the world. Think Soarin'. We're getting one at Phantasialand as well. Phantasialand, however you pronounce it. But I think that would suit a flying theatre really well. Doctor Who dark ride, like a trackless dark ride system along the lines of Amazing Spider-Man. I think it makes a lot of sense. Have some spinning in there, a good mix of screens and physical elements, and hey, maybe even some live actors in there, because there's such a huge eclectic mix of characters and creature designs, alien designs, of enemy designs, whatever, in the Doctor Who franchise. I'm actually not a fan of the Doctor Who franchise, but I appreciate the design aspects of it, and so I think that would lend itself really well to a dark ride. Now, the next couple, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire and The Chase. The way I would, and yes, I said dark ride, the way I would envision these is being like a cinema style quiz attraction. Maybe you could move through various different scenes and it would be interactive because you would be asked questions and you could choose on your system which question to choose. It could have loads of different questions, hundreds, thousands even, and they could all be jumbled up, so it would give the ride a lot of re-rideability. And the other thing that I think would be really fun for some of these types of attractions is the London resort being based so close to central London. I'd love to see some of the actors and presenters of these shows come in and surprise every so often. You know, like they've done in the past with the Pirates of the Caribbean and Johnny Depp. Get Bradley Walsh in for the day. You can get him on Doctor Who and The Chase. So, yeah, I think that would be cool. Then some flat rides. Thunderbird 3, the big red tall Thunderbird, shot tower. You know, it literally blasts off. Shot tower makes a lot of sense to me. Borg Cube from the Star Trek IP, I'd say could be a Vekoma Madhouse. A really nicely themed one, lots of cool green lights. And then something like a Transformers Starscream ride. Starscream, of course, being one of the villain planes from Transporters. So I think an air race type ride would be good. And then stage shows. I think some of these franchises that would be so suited well to a stage show. Mission Impossible stunt show. I think it would be great. I think an I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here show with audience participation would be really fun. Similar thing, The Weakest Link, again with audience participation. And Britain's Got Talent. Britain's Got Talent could have it listed here that it could have audience participation, but maybe it could. Maybe this is one of the elements that could set the London resort apart. But Britain's Got Talent is just really a talent show, so it could be a variety performance, basically a live variety performance. Again, it's something that you don't really see so much in theme parks around the world. Now there are like stunt shows and all that sort of thing around the world, but actual displays of magic and with this big variety, I think it would be a great idea. And then finally, or actually no, not finally, penultimately, some themed restaurant experiences. I think I'm not a fan of soap operas, my house, but the Queen's Head from EastEnders, is that what it's called? No, the Queen Vic. I've written down the Queen's Head. It's called the Queen Vic. The Queen Vic, just build the Queen Vic, a pub. From EastEnders. Similarly, the Rovers Return, heck, put them back to back maybe. And then Star Trek, The Enterprise. Build a full-blown Enterprise, stick a restaurant in there, and have loads of space food and whatnot. I think that could be really good. And then the last thing I want to mention is that there are some massive horror franchises that Paramount own. They've got Paranormal Activity, Friday the 13th, and The Ring. If those three alone do not provide a huge epic canvas for Halloween activities at this park, then what will? You know, these franchises are absolutely killer. I cannot imagine, no pun intended, I cannot imagine going around like a cabin or wooded area and being chased or followed by Samara. Or a brilliant set piece would of course be Samara climbing out of a TV. How absolutely horrifying would that be to witness in the flesh? So there you go, guys. I hope that I've maybe persuaded you here that the London Resort has got the potential to hold some incredible IPs and has some really unique opportunities in the park. I'd absolutely love to hear from you and what you would like to see at the park based on who's on board at the moment, Paramount, BBC and ITV. Let me in the comments below your thoughts, and I will see you next time. Cheers.